name is Adam W. Rodriguez, and this is The Art of R. Today, I'm going to be doing a book tag video. Well, not so much a book tag video as a song tag video, and it's called The Song Tag. I was tagged by Bad as Rad 2, who quickly became one of my favorite booktubers. She's super great. You should check out her channel. She's very imaginative. She has wonderful content. I'm going to leave her information in the description below. But this tag was originally created by a fellow named Gareth, and his channel is called Books, Music, and Other Magic. He's really cool. I first saw Gareth in a live chat video with Pax Panic, where they were doing live readings of his poetry, live Q&A about it. He seems super cool. I really like the poetry that was read. And I've watched a couple other videos since. Yeah, he does really good content. I'm going to leave his information in the comments below, in the description below, and y'all should check him out. He's great. Cool. Awesome. I'm really excited to do this tag. I really like being able to break around stuff. Like, books is like the center kind of foundation of my channel, but I have so many interests, and music is like the life's blood of many artists and many writers, and I'm really happy to be talking about songs and music and stuff like that. So thank you, Gareth, for making this tag. Thank you, Bad as Rad 2, for tagging me. Let's get on with it. Question number 1. Name a song that always makes you happy. Now, pound for pound, I should be saying Weird Al Yankovic.
As I walk through the valley where I harvest my grain, I take a look at my wife and realize she's very plain, but that's just
because album after album after album, that guy just knows how to make me laugh. But I am going to say somebody else, and this is because of what kind of joy yodeling really brings me. I think it's literally one of the happiest forms of music out there, and it's just straight up old school traditional German yodeling. This guy, his name is Takeo Ischi. He's a Japanese born man. He was born in Tokyo, but he did study in Germany, and I think he still lives in Germany if I'm not mistaken, but he's this really excellent yodeler. So great, and just the absolute joy that comes with this guy yodeling it's so infectious. In 2017 or 18, he did this really cool collaboration piece with these guys named the Gregory brothers, and they did a song called Chicken Attack, and it is probably one of the most delightful things I've ever seen on YouTube. I'm gonna leave it in the description below. It's soulful, it's funny, it's absurd. It's everything in the world that just makes me smile. You probably already even seen it, so but if you haven't, check it out. It's super great, and it will make you happy. You'll have a difficult time not being happy watching that guy's video. So he's excellent. Takeo Ischi. He's super great. Next, question number 2. Name a song that's a great fit for when you are in a pensive mood. Now, this one might seem a little cliche, but I have to go with Requiem by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. It's this piece of music. Mozart is normally a very joyful and kind of bubbly, peppy kind of music, it's just kind of designed to bring happiness. But his dark stuff, these dirgy, very moody, broody pieces that Requiem is one of the finest pieces of music ever, and it just puts me in such a state of contemplation, and I love it. Particularly Confitatis Maledictus. that. I could put on any part of Requiem and you know, get real pensive, real fast. But Confitatis Maledictus is like the kind of pinnacle for me. When I hear that part, I'm like in a zone. It's a great piece of music for when I'm writing, for when I'm painting. Yeah, it's an amazing piece of art. I loved that play, and that got turned into the film, but it's a wonderful piece of literature as well, the play, the stage play. So it's totally worth reading. And, you know, I can't do the song tag without even mentioning a few books. So that's a good one. Go and check that one out. Amadeus. Anyway, number 3. Name a song that changed your taste in music. Now, I want to say this was turn of the millennium, around 2001 or 4, maybe. I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and we were in the car, and Britney Spears came on the radio. It was the song "Hit Me Baby One More Time," and he like just reached over and like cranked it up. And I was just like, oh man, what are you doing, Britney Spears? And then as I'm sitting there, I'm just like, God, this really jams, actually. What's wrong with me? Why haven't I like enjoyed this all this time? Like powerful woman pop. I love it, especially when they're kind of aggressive. You know what I mean? It's good stuff, man. So that definitely changed my taste in music in general. I think I learned to listen to more poppy stuff. I think I really just kind of felt it was a little too generic for me for a long time. And, you know, once I embraced it, it opened whole new avenues of music that my, you know, man macho brain just wouldn't allow. And now I'm a better and happier music listener that I have changed my mind and changed my ways. So thank you, man. Thank you for cranking up that Britney Spears at that time, because she jams. Britney rules. Woo! Question number 4. Name a recent song that you've discovered and loved. Now, I'm more of I'm a metal guy, or a lot of people think of me as like a metal guy. I was working in this kitchen, and a friend of mine was like, one of the guys in the kitchen was like, dude, you need to check these guys out. And they were called Red Fang. And he specifically showed me a song called Prehistoric Dog. And he sent me this awesome music video. And ever since then, like every once in a while, I just kind of fiend for that song. Like I have to listen to it. You should check out, I'm going to leave that video down in the link below too. Once again, it's going to be hard not to smile. And if you like metal music, you'll probably really dig Red Fang. You might have already heard of him before. I might have came really late to that party. But yeah, it's one of the more recent songs that I just can't get enough of. I love it. Prehistoric Dog by Red Fang. Question number 5. Name 3 bands or artists that you love. All right, well, once again, going back to my metal love, Black Sabbath has got to be one of the greatest bands of all time. This was a really hard question, and narrowing everything down, I made a big list and just started like paring it down, trying to get to 3. Black Sabbath was one of the ones who survived that pairing. Black Sabbath is kind of pivotal, foundational metal. Like it's 1970s metal. It's like old school Ozzy Osborne stuff. And this is before like he started becoming really popular in the 80s. This is the stuff that's just like so bluesy, and you know, it's got this great distorted guitar, and it's some of my favorite stuff in the world.
All day long I think of things, but nothing seems to satisfy. Think I'll lose my mind if I don't find something to satisfy.
And besides Ozzy Osborne, Black Sabbath also had Ronnie James Dio as their frontman for a good while after Ozzy had left. And oh my gosh, Dio has got to be like one of my favorite singers of all time. Like, he's one of those guys who just really stuck to his guns with this kind of high fantasy style, heavy metal themes. And oh my gosh, dude, Dio he's practically like a dungeon master. He's like a singing dungeon master. It is so good.
If it seems to be real, it's a job. For every moment of truth, there's confusion in life. And love can be seen as the answer. But nobody bleeds for the dead.
That's probably why I picked Black Sabbath, because I could put both Ozzy Osborne and Dio in there somehow, because they're two of my favorite artists ever. Number 2, Frank Zappa. Oh my gosh, Frank Zappa, the influence this guy has had on me. He is one of those just amazing musicians. And he was also one of those guys who was not afraid to experiment. Some of his albums are just insane. Some of them I can't even really listen to. I've bought a few where I was just like, what the hell is happening, Frank? You know, but some of the other ones are just like such jams. I mean, I think his guitar solo for The Muffin Man is like one of the greatest pieces of music ever written. It's so damn good. And one of the really cool philosophies of guys like Zappa was he didn't really like play the same thing twice. Like, every time you got a solo for Muffin Man, it was a different solo from time to time. And he admits that. Like, he basically improvises on that guitar as he goes. And it's wonderful. There have been so many good musicians who have worked in and around Zappa, like guys like Johnny Guitar Watson. He's an amazing artist. You should check him out. People like Adrien Bellew, Steve Vai, who is just like this kind of transformative guitar player, like easily one of the greatest guitar players of all time. I think that Frank Zappa is probably the best guitar player ever. And I mean, he's up in there with guys like Roy Clark, and I guess your Eddie Van Halen's and your Billy Gibbons, maybe Jimi Hendrix, definitely Prince. But I think Zappa just he transformed that guitar, and he really just influenced music in really cool, creative, imaginative ways. So I will always have a place in my heart for Frank Zappa. He's amazing. I read his autobiography. It was actually really, really good. Anyway, the third artist in question number 5 I'm going to mention is Nina Simone. Man, Nina Simone could sing anything. She could sing a coffee jingle, and I would listen to that bad boy back to front and then put it on repeat. She's got the most soulful and amazing voice. Like, it's really, really hard to top. I can't think of anybody who's more soulful than Nina Simone. And there's a lot of great soul singing out there, but Nina she was on another level. She was otherworldly as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, freedom is mine, and I know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.
Nina Simone is one of the greatest of all time, as far as I'm concerned. These are my opinions, of course. Question number 6. What instrument would you like to be able to play? Now, in my head, every time I'm like jamming, you know, and I'm like kicking ass on an instrument, I don't play any instruments, by the way. But I think, like, if I dream of playing an instrument, it would probably be the violin. There's something very visceral about the violin, about having this kind of extra weapon, you know, that you're just like flinging around. It's just so dynamic, right? And I have a particular love for stuff like, you know, I love my classical music. I love like kind of Eastern European punk rock, where they use a lot of like accordions and fiddles and violins. I love like old bluegrass violin stuff, fiddle playing and all that kind of noise. So like I love a lot of the genres and the energy from the violin and the fiddle. So it's just one of those things that I like. You know, it makes you remind you of the devil in his fiddle contests. I'm a big fan of Niccolo Paganini, who is said to be the devil's violin player. And if you ever listen to some of his stuff, it's pretty darn amazing. I'm doing a lot of classical stuff on my song tag here, but I like I said, I do listen to a pretty big breadth of stuff. So anyway, let's move on. Question number 7: name a fiction book with music at the center of its narrative. Now, when I was trying to think of books that had like music in the center of the narrative, most of them were like autobiographies, right? Like Frank Zappa. And then there's like a Dio one, and so I was like surprised at how few books I could think of that had music in the center of the narrative. So I'm going to go with The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. It's a really, really good book. He's part of the pantheon of like Victorian monsters, you know, right up there with like Dracula and Frankenstein. You know, the old Lon Chaney, you know, Universal monsters kind of helped put him on that pantheon. But I think it was a decent story. I really liked it. It read almost like a detective novel in some way, but it's mostly about this man who was born with this deformity. He was kind of cast out, but he himself is just like this engineering and musical genius. And, you know, he's hiding in the Paris Opera House. And he falls in love with this opera singer named Christine Daae. But Christine Daae and this other cat named Raoul are sort of interested in each other. So it becomes this really weird, twisted love triangle where both the dudes are pretty creepy. As far as I'm concerned. You know, it was written in the 1800s. But anyway, it's a pretty decent book. You should check it out. It's totally worth the read. Awesome. And then there's the final prompt, which is prompt 8. And that is to tag some people. Now, I've seen a few other versions of this tag. And a lot of the folks that I would have normally tagged have already been tagged. So what I'm going to do is tag the folks that I'm not sure if they got tagged. One of them, I know I haven't seen her tagged yet. And that is Nicole from Nicole's Bookish Nook. She talks about music a lot herself on her channel. I've done a book tag of hers that was about rock and roll and heavy metal. And she just did another one that's about heavy metal and rock and roll. Anyway, it's really fun stuff. Nicole is awesome. You should check out her channel. She's an author. She gives these really, really cool book reviews from an author's perspective, and they're wonderful. Nicole is great. Go check her stuff out. And hey, Nicole, consider yourself tagged in this if you want to do it. Awesome. This was a lot of fun, you guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I know I enjoyed making it and talking about music and bands and the stuff that I like. So we will see you here next time at the Art of R. Ciao.